Today's chapter is very interesting, and I think it's very easy also compared to what we have discussed last time. It's called Vibhuti Yoga. So, yoga through appreciating the infinite power of the God, the abundance of the God. So, here, this chapter actually, Krishna is revealing and talking about who is He, who is divine, who is God, the manifestation, different manifestation of the God, the power of the God. So he tried to explain. So although there are the 42 chapters, slokas are there, but it's easy to understand. And in that also there is a bhakti yoga tips is given here. There is a middle chapter. So let's see. Last chapter, we just take a little bit review so that you can connect. Last chapter we talk about Raj Vidya Yoga, so king of all the science, and we talk about the cycle of birth and death, how to get rid of this cycle, and what are the important things when we are doing bhakti, the devotion. So this, we talk about the shraddha, we talk about the faith, the belief, the action, the confidence. So in that sense, we talk about faith. Instead of faith, try to use the word shraddha so that it won't be confusing. So once you have a shraddha, then it is very easy to do satsang. And once we have a company or or discussions like what we are doing right now, that's where it's the churning out of emotion, churning out of the knowledge, churning out of this uh, human emotions is coming out, and then it will help you to perform the devotions. So once you are devotees, once you start to devote your time, your money, your actions to yourself, to the divine, that's whatever the faith you have, then it is very easy to know yourself. So self knowledge, so how to achieve the self knowledge? So the first step is shraddha, then satsang, then devotion, and then self knowledge. So this is how we can get that knowledge. So we did talk about this in detail, and we did talk about how the different saints they managed to do that. So how to do bhakti? We talk about the majority, the three folds of bhakti: the Sravana, the hearing; the Kirtan, the chanting; and Smaran is the remembering. So remembering the Smaran is the most powerful and most important. So it's like silent chanting or silent remembering. So singing glories for the name, forms, qualities of the divine, and that is where the Kirtan is coming in. So you are singing the glory of the God. And we did talk about the Gnana Yoga, and then how you can contemplate deeply that who am I. So basically this is where the God is telling that everywhere you will see, and how to worship the God. So we talk about the worship and how the divine is taking care of the devotees. And he said that I personally carry the burden of maintaining my devotees. So for that, the divine help us to protect our spiritual assets as a devotees. So as a devotees, what we need to do is we are exclusive surrender. This is the condition we need to. If you as a devotee, if you want be to taken care by the divine or the God, then we need to have this exclusive surrender. This is very important. And we did talk about the different types of worship and how easily we can worship with all our objects or actions and with the pure heart. We just devote each and everything what we do. So the emotions, the intention is important rather than what we are doing. if you have an intention, you can be connect anytime. With you don't need to have that you be a come into the protocol, or you need to be have a certain do and don'ts or guideline or whatever. So as long as we have that pure heart and the good intention, that is the key requirement of the worship. Now that is where we are connecting this, and very interestingly Krishna is connecting this, that how I taken care of my devotees. So he talk about that the devotees should be with the exclusive surrender. Now in this chapter called Vibhuti Yoga, this Vibhuti Yoga, we talk about the glory of the God, glory of the divine, and the statement. So in this verse 1 to 7, is the Krishna is talk about the how the Yoga Shakti and the results of knowing. What are the different results of if you know yourself? What will be the consequences? 8 to 11, we talk about the Bhakti Yoga. So the previous chapter he talk about the how to do worship and the bhakti. Now in this chapter we did talk about the fruits and effects of bhakti. This is very interesting, and we need to we have some takeaway from here as well. So this is how we can become a master, or the we can become the good student of bhakti yoga. So he revealed the certain secrets and the fruits and the effects of the bhakti yoga in the chapter verse 8 and 11. Then 12 and 18 he talk about the Arjun to praise about the vibhuti or the yoga shakti or the yoga maya. So what is all this, his glories he's talking about. And the finally 19 to 42, almost 24, 20 to 24 verse, Krishna explained Arjun, if you want to see me, because Arjun asked the simple questions, how do I feel you 24/7? Where do I meditate on you? Which object, which form I meditate you? So then is like, if you see the explanation, can you imagine that 19 to 42 verse? So Krishna explained, I will show you this. We cannot discuss each and everything, but you will see I made a tabular content. So we just go one by one and I will explain the important one. And this is where he's like mind-blowing explanation he's giving, that you cannot have any excuse that you cannot find me. Basically this is what he's trying to revealing. So basically he's showing his yoga maya, his own power, his glory, the superpower to the Arjun, so that you can take any form, any object, any situations, anything, and then you can meditate on that. So this chapter is very interesting, and there is a conversation in this chapter. Arjun did ask the questions, and there is a conversation is there. And Arjun asked the different types of how do I meditate about when the Krishna talk about his glory. So he did talk about the science of the bhakti. Krishna did talk about the science of the bhakti and how you love the devotion and how you use your devotion. And this is why he described a different power, different glories, and all his presence in a different form, past, present, and the future. And it's like infinite glories. He talk about it. So each and every areas he's explained very clearly. So if you see the essence of this chapter, we need to see the divinity all around us. So everywhere, every molecules, every particles, you will see the divine's presence. That is what this chapter is talk about, and that is what Krishna tried to explain Arjun, that you cannot see me as a physical form, but you have to go beyond my physical form, and you will see in a different form. So he literally narrate each and every form. So let's start what he's trying to say that. So in the initial conversation itself, Krishna directly start talking about, oh Arjun, he used that I'm going to reveal you. I'm going to tell you the lesson again. He says, I'm going to teach, I'm going to let you know my divine glories, you know. So describe the welfare because you are my beloved friend. He Here the Krishna is not talk Arjun as a you are my student. He is become very friendly here. He said, since you are my beloved friend, I shall reveal them to you. It's like a friends. We talk about the secrets. We don't have anything to be hide or seek. So this is where the Krishna and Arjun is showing that, okay, since you are my beloved friend, I'm going to reveal you. What I'm going to reveal you, that is not very easily can understand by the even the sages and the celestial gods. But for you, I will reveal you. So he used the word called Priya Manya. That is, you are my beloved, confident, and so I am, and you are very confident in me. So that I know that you will believe me and you have that understanding, and then you are friend. So I'm revealing you because the very special knowledge to you. So this is how he started. And then he said that this, what I'm going to reveal you, what I'm going to talk to you, even the celestial gods or the great sage, they don't know my origin. They don't know my sources, where I come from, how I manage and where I merge it. So in a way, he's trying to tell that you are very lucky that we have this conversation, and then you are the one who is going to reveal this. Here again, these are there are a lot of Ishopanishads. So few Upanishads has already documented and talk about the same thing in a different way, that God cannot be known, the divine cannot be known by the celestial gods or devatas, as well as the even the high level of the yogis, because it is beyond them. So they give the always give a like a example of, let's say, if we have a father, so let's say you become a father, so you know that in your absence you are witnessing your child is born, so you know that. But we don't know our father or grandfather because we never witnessed that at that time. So someone has to witness that event or that particular area, that when then you know the source of origin. So here this Krishna says that even the god or the rishis, those who came earlier is like a first generation, they didn't know that because I'm beyond them. I'm the one who's like a founder of the universe. So so all these celestial gods or the rishis and the devatas and the yogis, they never knew my existence. They don't know where my true source and true glory. So I'm going to reveal you that. He says that. Now he says that those who know me as unborn, beginningless. That means it's not like, oh, this is the starting point and this is the end. This is the unborn that is already is burning. It's like energy. It's neither created nor destroyed. So it's a cycle of born and start, middle, and end of the supreme Lord of this universe, and free from the illusions that I'm going to reveal you. Now here, indirectly or very subtly, he is telling this one sentence that we need to highlight and we need to understand that no matter what we do, a self effort, we cannot. You can do all the kind of yoga, you can do all kind of bhakti, you can do all the raja yoga, or you do any kriyas, or you can do, but as a self effort, you cannot know the God. This is exactly he says this to Arjun. That means you need some middleman, or if you don't have the middleman, you need one key ingredients. You know what is that? Once you have that, then you are able to do a self effort. So what is the key ingredients you need is, first you need a devotion, If you have devotion, but if you don't have the God grace, remember this. If you don't have the grace, then you cannot self-realize, you cannot see the God as a self-realization by your own effort. Only by the divine's grace, if you have, with the pure devotions, then you are able to see the realization of the God. So that's why this is very, very important, because majority time so far we learn about all this shraddha, the devotions and the effort and then guru and all those people, everything is there in own place, but still without grace is all useless. You cannot go certain level. I mean, you can go certain level, and after that you need literally a grace from the divine itself, direct source. Then you will be, it's like a startup. You can put your money, you can have a little bit of angel investment or whatever, you can run a certain company for certain level, 1 year, 2 year, but at one point of time you need a proper funding, and you need to have a take that company to the next level. That is very important. Otherwise you will be playing around in that certain areas, no matter your product or your ideas or your organization is very good, but you cannot grow in the way it should be growing. So that's why you need that funding or that support and all this. Similarly, in the spiritual world, we need that divine grace, divine uh, support to lift our spirituality as a devotee and then merge with that united God. So grace is very important here. Obviously, the devotions and the bhakti is we already have that. Then only you are eligible for the grace. Now, grace you need to understand different way. We will have this talk maybe some other time, or maybe we'll see if it is the next slide or next chapter is coming. We need to understand very differently. We always say, in fact, if you remember, some of time we have talked in our class as well, that everyone has his own time and season. We need to respect that. Respect for ourselves as well, and for our teachers, our students, our parents, our children as well. I'm not sure, but what I have seen, generally Indian parents or Indian family, if you see, let's say for example, my mother got first spiritual guru, then she tried to tell my father, okay, this is I'm experiencing very good, and maybe you can listen to him. And also my father also listen and start, and he feel good, and then he got it. And so my father tried to teach me the similar thing, but then my mother says, stop, don't push him. He has his own season, he has his own time. Let him grow by itself. Our job is to create this. If you like it, fine. If he asks, then only we need to feed. So in generally, if you see in India, the family is like, okay, when you prepare some kind of let's say food, you like to share. Similarly, if you have one guru or spiritual guru, or then you like to, oh, you can also we will like to share. But these things, spiritual journey, we need to respect that everyone has his own time and season. You cannot force them. You cannot uh, talk about it. Similarly, if you see your husband, let's say you are interested in this topic and spirituality, and you are growing and you have that hunger and dynamism about it, but your life partner, your boyfriend or your husband, they don't have a clue what you are talking about. They don't, maybe they believe, they don't believe, they don't understand, or they may understand, but they think, oh, this is not my time. So we need to respect their feelings also, because the divine grace is not there yet, reach there. Maybe you ready, that's why you will look at. I can see me and my brother has a best example, because when since young I am lucky, I can say I have that grace, and I can see that. And my brother, now we are connecting together, and then he can see the difference. So all the while, whenever the right time comes in, everyone will start talk about the same topic, same way, and then the harmony will develop. And that grace will also, you will get it based on the karmas, what we already discussed about the past karmas and our mayas and our gunas. Based on this, we will get this. So we need to aware, and we need to respect everyone's time and season. Then only the fruit will come. But that doesn't mean that you will stop and wait. So as if like you need to keep open heart, as a, like a child heart, without any cheat and deceit. You just need to do it, and full of shraddha, the devotion, and keep doing whatever you are doing, and you will be surprised. And one day, bang, okay, you will suddenly you realize that, oh, I'm doing good, and you will see the lot of positivity surroundings. You will see that, and that's where you will see that the divine is coming closer to you. The God realization is coming to you. The special grace is coming to you. It can be, you will see in a relationship, in a business, in a small thing also, you day to day life also, you can see that. So this topic we will keep discuss again about this grace. Very, very important and very subtle topic. A lot of people is misunderstand. Now here Krishna is going very further. By the way, this chapter, if you need a PDF, I don't mind to send the PDF, because there are a lot of readings here. This particular chapter, he talk about a lot of information also. And ideally this chapter is like to listen. There is less to understand compared to listening, and we need to contemplate. So more information, and it will be more easier to read it about. So maybe I will send you, all of you, so that you don't miss out, or you can see that. So here Krishna talk about his manifestation. Now here, very interestingly, he never say that, oh, I am only in good. He said, I am in a negative as well, I am in a positivity as well. According to the purusharth, according to our karma, you can change. Because we have the freedom of choice. So how you use this power? Remember, kartum akartum anyatha kartum. We have a power of choice. So either to do, not to do, or do it differently. So use this power and you choice, then you can get rid of your past sanskaras, and your present life also you can change. And what you can change, what are the obstacles, positively or negatively? He literally described these 20 emotions. So first he talk about, and these are the 20 emotions. It can be negative, it can be positive, and these are the emotions. It is affecting day to day life, or it is come across in our day-to-day activity. It can be a hurdle, it can be a, we are using knowingly, unknowingly. It's like buddhi, intellect. We use our analytical power, knowledge, discrimination power. We use the spiritual knowledge and material form, it's called gnanam. Then asamohan, clarity of thoughts. Now this is very important. Nowadays we are losing this emotions. We are not utilizing this virtue. Hardly we have a clarity of thoughts. Majority time we are like a dilemma. Should I not? So we need to be very clear what we need in our life. Where I want to see myself after 2 years or after 3 years. Why I'm doing what I'm doing. So we need to be, even small things also, we need to be very important. Then only, first you decide that, then is automatically you know what to do the next. Similar like that. So clarity of thought is very important. Forgiveness, shama. We need to develop this. Emotionally, mentally, even virtually, all the senses we need to work it. Satyam, the truthfulness. They talk about dam, the control over the senses. And sama, sham, control over the mind. Sukham, joy. Dukham, sorrow. Bhava, birth. Abhava, death. Bhaya, fear. Abhaya, courage. Ahimsa, non-violence. Samatva, equanimity. And tusti, contentment. Contentment, very important. Whatever we do it. Austerity, tapa, tapasya. This is we already learn in yama niyama. So we need to be very disciplined and practice. Dana, charity, very important. whatever we have in a form of knowledge, in a form of money, in a form of time, we should at least do a charity work. Yash, fame, and ayash, infamy. So all these 20 emotions he described very clearly, that these are the some way we are affecting knowingly, unknowingly, and we don't know how to use this. Furthermore, he did explain about source of everything that exists, where the source is coming. So he go back to that, how the universe formed. And then so we did talk about the how the universe formed in the previous chapter. So he talked about the 25 elevated personalities, the and then he give the synopsis here. So first is like a Brahma. So we talk about this, the Brahman who created in a form of Vishnu energy, that he's created this universe. And the first four is called Rishi Kumara. So this Kumara is like a four son or four son without any wife. They have like, it's a God gift child, they can call it. Now this is where there are a lot of Veda and Vedic the, the so-called the terminology, and then the name is coming. So each and every name and then sages, we have that different information. Okay, so there's four saints: Sanak, Sanadhan, Sanat, and Sanatan. These four Kumaras, they are experts, they are the liberated soul, and they're experts in the science of yoga, and they have started spreading this spiritualization. And then from there is a seven sages is built up, and that seven sages called Marich, Angira, Atri, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, and Vasistha. So we, if you remember, we have learned a few slokas from the Vasistha Yoga. So these are the seven Saptarushi, also we call it, or seven sages. Now seven sages also we call seven star. So this is, they are like, although they are not physically here, but their energy is still around even today. And they are like the like a first hierarchy of the organization. They are like managing the whole human population, or the procreation and all this management of this. They are the one who has each and everyone has a different area of like a department, to manage. And after this seven stages, there are four manus, administrative humankind. So they are like a supporting people. So these are the 14 manus. So in India, each and this manu smruti, each and every this administration manus, humankind, this manus, the encyclopedia is written. Unfortunately, there are so many already destroyed by the Britishers, but there are few is already they retrieve back, and they are like restarting then and preserving this. So this is where the whole knowledge is coming from. In a different manus, they have a different maybe a chapter or different the science and all those things. So Krishna talking about this particularly, in going back to that, I am everywhere in this source. So he talk about this in a flashback. He did talk about great power. Here he used the word vibhuti. Vibhuti is like a great shakti, great power of the God manifestation in the universe. Yogam is the God connections with this wonderful power. So that's why it's called vibhuti yoga. So he's talk about all the divine manifestation in this universe. So the knowledge of the greatness of this God is very important. If you don't have the knowledge, if you don't appreciate, then it is very difficult to fall in love with it. How you fall in love with the person in a day-to-day life? Let's say we do it, we don't understand. We need to, you see one person, and then you meet again, and you keep meeting a few times. Either you go dating, or you are, or maybe your colleague or your friend. So once you are meeting few times, then you get to know the person very well. And once you get to know, then automatically that enhancement of your devotions, enhancement of your trust, enhancement of your shraddha will start. So the knowledge of this greatness God also start with that. You need to understand the glory and manifestation of the God, then you will start appreciating, and then you will automatically have a shraddha and devotion will start. So this is why the Krishna is telling Arjun that you have to understand my glory and wherever I am doing. And that's why he said again, I am the supreme ultimate truth and the cause of all the causes. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. So he said to Arjun that I am the supreme ultimate truth and cause of all the causes. So try to understand me. Now, same time he says how the devotee worship him. So here now is connecting again a bhakti yoga is a science. So devotees first accept that manifestation. So then your life become very easy. And this is happening in a day-to-day life, like a basis of life. Every moment of the life, devotees is seeing the glory of the God. And once you have seen that, then you will have that meaning and purpose, and you will have a strength to live. If you have any difficulty in your life, if you have a bad phase in your life, still you will have that power, you will have that courage, that no worries, the divine is taking care of me, because you will see the presence. And you will remember that how it is important, how it is essential to remember this divinity, because every moment as a gift of this breath is coming into my life, so that divine help me to fight, to understand, to do that purusharth, to get out of the situation, and then do the further spiritual practices and try to get him, try to know him more. And once you do that, then from this surrender, once you start that, once you experience, then the contentment comes. So once you have a contentment, then you know the final output is contentment through the surrender. Now here also Krishna says how he respond to these devotional activities in a way. So who unite with their minds with him in devotion. So any bhakt or a student who is practicing the devotion, automatically the consequences of the grace will get him this knowledge. So basically once he is devoted, united, and exclusive surrender happens via devotion, then automatically he is eligible for this grace. And once you have that grace or the consequences of this divine grace, you will get that divine self knowledge. And once you have that knowledge, you are easy. He says you can easily attain me. As Krishna says, you can already aware of me. You are attaining me. So now doing this, divine knowledge of God is not attained by the flight of our intellect. So here he is telling this message very subtly. If we try to catch a divine or God or Krishna, in a way, he said that you cannot catch me through your intellect, because I am the beyond the intellect. And that's why once we are beyond, once we do with your feeling is beyond intellect. So that is why we need to do a first surrender, because surrender comes in, then the devotion comes in, then only you can feel it. And that is very easy to go. But if you try to think and then you act and use your intelligence, use your mind, use your contemplation, then we will never ever attain the God. You may go to the nearest God, you know that protocol of the God, but you cannot feel it. So you need to let go at some time. So try to use, not to use. So that's why bhakti yoga, there is no intelligence, there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no protocol. So whenever you see surrounding you that any bhakti yoga, or try to create that a pattern or that flow or the protocol and all this, or the like, guideline, that means they are using somehow the intellect, somehow they are using the protocol, somehow they are using that sophistication, somehow they are using this like a organized way, then it's gone. Because traditionally, no matter, I remember when we are very young as a child, anytime you go and like a certain someone family and like normal talking or after eating, suddenly that one people start bhajan or something, it's like it's jamming and start, people talk about and then glory about the god and all. So it's like 24/7 anytime it will start, and that you don't need to be, oh, I have to dress up nicely, or I have to eat this, or I need to be perform this puja, or I need to do that. No, it will happen 24/7. Your breath is coming 24/7 without any protocol, without any rituals. See, this is what the Krishna is talking about. Don't try to think, don't try to use your intellect. So we need to aware that he never mentioned this, but I underline this, that majority fail in this bhakti yoga, also called the devotions, and they mastered, they got a siddhis, but they cannot achieve attain the God because of the intellect. So we need to go beyond the intellect. Now, what happens when we receive the divine grace? This is very interesting. You already got $1 million. So you already got a divine grace. Then what happens? You already got funding. You already got let's say jackpot. Now what to do? This is where the issue starts. This is where we don't have a clue. This is where the fear comes in. So many time people, students, if you remember, ask that, oh, I have this some kind of feeling. Now what to do? I am not comfortable. This is where we are using our intellect. So here, let me explain this. First, there is a grace is happening. Once the grace you are getting from the divine, automatically your wisdom will start open up from within. So you no need to know anything. You already knew. Then you know how to use your wisdom within you. And once the wisdom is lit, automatically it will destroy the darkness. Now here the darkness in a terminology is the ignorance. Krishna used the darkness, but try to say that understand as a ignorance. Once you have a wisdom, it will destroy the darkness or the ignorance. Now what is ignorance? That we have a majority time we have that false ego, false belief that, oh, I am here to make money, I'm here to do this. No, we will, this is all this ignorance, that we don't know why we are here, what we are doing. We just have that convincing, we are using our own trap, and then we are just telling that, oh, this is why I am here, this is why. No, the true purpose of the life we will miss out. So the true wisdom will destroy the darkness as well as the ignorance. And once you destroy that, you will see, hear, and know, and you can united with the divine, united with the God. So it is very important. So this is how you are using the grace to see him. Now you may think, what I need to do to get, if I want to receive the divine grace, what I should be doing, what I need the eligibility. So we need again a devotion. So devotion is the key factor here. So once we have the devotion, then only you are eligible for grace, and then you will get a wisdom, and then you can destroy the darkness, and then you will connect with the divine. So again, he talk about devotion here. So in order to so-called qualify a bhakti entrance exam, we need to have first a devotion. And in order to have a devotions, we need to understand the shraddha. We need to have understand that the feeling, and we need to put aside our intelligence. And in order to put aside our intelligence, we need to go back to the beyond the gunas, and we need to go before the beyond the gunas. We need to go and remove the tamas, sattva, rajas, and we need to be a sattvic first. So we need to, so if you see where we are right now, maybe I will prepare one day one slide, so that we know, we can find all of us. Oh, it's like a points, or like a, this is where I am in right now, and I want to achieve this. Or I can see that myself, sometimes I'm fluctuating from rajas to sattva, or maybe I haven't go back beyond gunas yet, or I'm still playing around within the intellect, something like that. So we need to aware, but the devotion is the key here. Now here, after hearing this, Arjun asked the question. Arjun said something here. Arjun is very fascinating about. He said, "You are the supreme divine personality. You are the supreme abode, supreme purifier, eternal God. You are a primal being, unknown, and the greatest. The greatest sage like Narad, Asit, and Deval, and the Vyas proclaim this also. So they already mentioned this about you. Now you are declaring to me yourself." So Arjun is very happy that whatever I heard about you, now you are testifying it basically, and you are telling me this. So his convincing and his conviction is become more powerful, and he's like more connected with the Krishna. And say, so Arjun is more convinced entirely about the supreme position about the Krishna. And then he says, so basically he's testify his knowledge by all this credibility established by these yogis. And then further he asked, Arjun said to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, I totally accept everything that you have told me as a truth. Oh Lord, neither the God or the demons understand your true personality." So he do understand that it's not easy to understand you, what is your true personality. It is very difficult. And then again, so here you will see the Arjun thirst of hearing more about Krishna or more about the Krishna's glory. It increase already because he's already convinced, and conviction is getting stronger and stronger. So wanting to see Krishna to describe his glory, he's not asking, but he's like indirectly is putting it in his mouth. So again he says, Krishna refer to Arjun refer to Krishna is, "You are the creator of all the beings, and you are like a universal father. You are the supreme controller. You can manage and all the Lord's being. You are the master of creation and God of all the celestial gods, the devas of devas." So he's telling this to Krishna's, and finally he says, "Please describe me your divine grace, divine glories, by which you prevail and all the world reside in them." So he talk about that you give me a little bit of glances that where you are sitting and how you are managing, or where is your glory, where you are sitting it. And finally he says, "O supreme master of yoga, how may I know you and am think of you? Let me know so that I can meditate on which form, what form I should meditate, and it will help me to understand your presence. And I can think of you all the time." Because remember the past two chapter, Krishna talk about that you have to keep remembering me 24/7, so that it is easy when you are dying, that is liberation will happen easily. So all this previous chapter he never talk about, so he put it into this one questions that he trying to say to Krishna that, "Tell me, you give me the so-called the tips, that how can I remember you 24/7 so that I can meditate on you." And also he talk about the what form here. So he's asking a lot of things here indirectly, that which form I should meditate. I want to meditate, and 24/7, as you said, that you have to connect me with me in exclusively, and I can think of you also. So show me what are the areas, show me what are your different form, so that I can easily connect. So something like that. Sometimes student ask, "Oh, show me the few exercise so that I can experiment. Okay, I can practice in my office time, or if I have only 5 minutes, how do I do let's say a yoga, or while I'm cooking or I'm in house, what I do practice, if I have half an hour, what I practice." Something like Arjun is asking, but in a different ways. And same time he said, again he asked further, "Tell me again in detail your divine glories and manifestations, O Janardhan." So he used, for the Krishna, he used the word Janardhan here. So again, now Arjun is putting a more friendly gestures to the Krishna. Rather than he is giving the as a guru and as a divine, he's making like more friend. Oh Janardhan, like oh buddy, you tell me that about your divine glories and manifestation. I can never tired of hearing your nectar. So this is where he like let go and as you tell me, I'm not going to tired. So keep telling me from your own mouth. I don't want any middleman. I want to hear from you directly your divine glories and manifestations. So, oh Janardhan, please tell me in detail. Then Krishna's blessed Lord spoke. I shall now briefly, he says this. You need to see this. He don't say, okay, I will explain you in detail. He just say, I shall briefly describe my divine glory to you. Oh, best of the Kuntis, Kurus. Kurus is like or Kurus generation. So Arjun's generation is Kurus. So the father is like Kurus. So he said, best of the Kurus. So best of in your family, oh Arjun. There is no end to their details. So he said, once what I'm going to explain you in a brief, there is no end in a detail. So you listen to you. Then he start explaining all this. Now this is where we need to aware. I will send you the PDF. Because what he's talking, he's trying to give analogy and sometimes all this. For example, what he's saying, I try to put it in the. So this is where the 19 to 42 chapter. So me, Krishna, and among the best. So best of best, I am. So he's trying to say that all the living entity. So human being or the animal, any living entity, if you want to find me, you find me in heart, he says. So this is where you said, and Vishnu, Vaman avatar. So anything you want to have, any avatar you want to find me, divine, is a Vishnu. If you, any luminous object you want to find, sun or moon. So he's trying to give the whatever the best, this is where the divine is. He's trying to say in that way. Best of all the winds. There are 49 types of wind, by the way, in universe. Air or the wind. So one of the out of this 49 types of wind, one of the best wind called Marichi. So he said, I am the Marichi. Then there are 4 Vedas: Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved, and Atharva Ved. He said, out of 4 Vedas, one of the best Veda is Samaveda, and that is where I am. So he's giving the best. So that is a reason whenever we go to the temple, whenever we go to church, any place, we want to offer the best to the divine, best to the God, or any festival, any rituals, we wear the best or new clothes, clean cloth, and we try to do the best to that rituals or whatever. It's the same reason, because God and divine is everywhere. He never say, he don't want to give anything lesser than that. He's like a perfectionist, and that's where when we say that if you become perfect, you become God, or you become divine. So he is the perfect. So he's not telling that, oh, I am everywhere. I'm also in Rigved, I'm also in Yajurved. No, he said, no, I'm only in Samaved, because Samaved is the best. Samaved is talk about the Bhakti Yoga. So whatever is the best, that is where the divine is. I am in all the celestial God. Among all the celestial God, I am in Indra. Indra is the chief of the celestial God. Among all the senses, smelling, seeing, talking, I am in the mind. Because if your mind is not connected, no matter how powerful our senses is waste. Right now, you are connecting your mind so that you are listening and you are interpreting this information. So if your mind is going somewhere else, no matter you are physically here, you are hearing me, but you are not understanding. So this is where he said, I am in the mind. Similarly, he says, among all the living creatures, I am in a consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no life. So he's trying to give each and every element that is exist in universe, not in the earth. He talk about the universe, and in the best form, you will find his existence. Even Rudras, he said Rudras, there is a 11 form of Lord Shiva. So here you will find a lot of information. Now, the 11 form of Lord Shiva, and one of the best is the Rudras. He said, I am the Rudras. Kuber, he said, there is a semi-divine demons. So Yakshas, they call it. So he said the Kuber is a father of wealth. So that also he said. So here you have to aware, he is not talking about any good or bad or positive or negative. Even negative, later you will see the negative, what we think is good or what is we see the bad. He don't see, because it is like divine is like a creator, so he's also like a destroyer. So in order to have a destroy, you need to have a bad thing, you need to have a anger, you need to have an ego, you need to have that lust. So that is also he will be, you will find his existence. Agni, the fire, he said all out of five, the 8 verses, the land, water, fire, air, space, sun, moon, and star. The one of the best is I am Agni, I am the fire. You will find it. Meru is where all the celestial God is sitting there, or the favorite mountain. So he said, I am the best mountain, the Meru mountain, in that way. So he is trying to explaining this. Furthermore, he talk about Brihaspati. He says all this function of the rituals worship when you do, and the best worship done by this Brihaspati. So certain things, it is very deep in Vedas that explain about the science, and then how that this terms is coming out. Okay, so we no need to go in details, but try to understand that the Krishna is trying to tell Arjun that I am in the best of best. There's no compromise. Kartikeya is a commander of chief of celestial god. Okay. Anything reservation of the water, I'm an ocean. You talk about the great seers, the Brigu. So Brigu is one of the great seers. So he said, I am the Brigu. And he talk about all the sounds. I am the Om. So the best one is Om, and I am the Om. All the mountain. Now that mountain is different, and this Himalayas is different. What we talk about, the Meru is different, and this is Himalaya. This is where he said Himalayas is still why people go there. There are a lot of subtle bodies is practicing in there even today also. That's why the whole energy is different. So I am the best Himalaya. I am there. Best of all the tree, the banyan tree. I am there. The banyan tree is the same tree that the Lord Buddha has practiced. And get the and meditate. Buddha meditate then. All the gurus and the personalities. He said, I am the amongst the best as a Narad. Now Narad Bhakti Sutras. Narad also very great sage. He wrote a Bhakti Sutras. So we will one day we will do that talk, because he is like a focusing on the Bhakti Sutras and characteristics and everything in very detail. Then Chitratha. So all the Gandharvas. So this is where the different, some of the area we need to keep learning. Even some of that I heard about it, but I don't have more information about that. So as I said, these are the each and every areas you are going very detail about the Vedas here. Sage Kapil. So Kapil is one of the Siddhi yogis, that he's a Sankhya system of philosophy. He taught the glory of the Bhakti Yoga. So he said, the one of the Siddhis, yogis, I am the best, I am the Kapil. Then Uchchasta Swara, that is the celestial wings, is like a wing-based god, the horse that belongs to Indra. So I am the best, and best of elephant, name called Airavat. So I am the Airavat. So basically he's trying to, if you see, he's giving all the creatures in the universe that you will find it, I am the best. Amongst all the weapon, I am the Vajra. Vajra is the thunderbolt weapon that is used by the Indra. Kamdhenu, all the animals. He talk about the cow. So he said Kamdenu is where the cow, if any cow, I am the Kamdenu. Kamdev, god of love, attraction between opposite sex. So he said, this is also I am. So now here, a lot of people, when they discuss about this or they heard about this, they find some of them they find uncomfortable that why the divine is talk about the Kamdev and all. So we need to understand he is a lot of people here, as we discussed in some of the class also, when we start practicing spirituality or the yoga also, a lot of people is going towards a different mindset about the sex. Okay, to perform or not to perform, or what will happen and all this. But understand that why divine put it here, the god of love and attraction is very natural in our human body, opposite sex. Okay, because of the divine is also the best is the Kamdev, because the Kamdev is create that desire of sexual desire. Now this is where he's putting more explanation about when you do, if you don't have that attraction, you cannot perform the sex to be performed to produce the child only, not for the sensual experiences or expectations or that experiment. So this is why we have already gone beyond this concept. We are using the sex nowadays for entertainment, and that is what he is not mentioning this. We need to use this for the procreation only. So once we have a children, technically we should not perform the sex ideally. This is what uh, they have done it. That's why all gods have this. But we need to understand where we need to go. And if you see the past few chapter also, they talk about different ashrams, different brahmacharya we talk about. Okay, so you need to have a sanyam. There is a word called sanyam. So once you have that mastery, that it's not that the idea here you need to understand is we should not use as a sensory. Whenever you feel like you eat it, or you when you hungry, then only you eat, right? Breakfast. If you don't hungry, you don't eat it. So similarly, but the sex part, even though we are not love or there is no attraction, there is no real thing is there, but we are doing for the entertainment. It become more sensual pleasure rather than that procreation part. So we need to understand that. Vasuki, the serpent of the best serpent is called Vasuki. And similarly, the Naga, the Anant, the divine serpent of the whom Lord Vishnu rests. So if you see the Vishnu photograph, there is also called Anant Nag. Varun, all the ancestor departed, where they are together. So one of the best is Varun. Then in talk about the Aryama is all the dispenser of the law. And even he said, I am the Yamraj, I am the Lord of the death. Okay. So Prahlad also, because he was so devotees, and there is a whole story about the Prahlad. So he said, I am the Prahlad, I am the time that can control, I am the king of the jungle called lion. And he said the one of the best among the greatest birds, the Garud, the eagle, the king eagle. So he is giving Arjun the analogy of whole universe, that I am the best among the best in each and every area, wherever you want to see the wind. Because due to wind, there are a lot of evaporations, and there is a lot of purification, and the transportation is happening. So I am the wind. I am the ruler, the best ruler of the Rama, Lord Rama. So I am the Rama. And water creatures. So if anything water, the crocodile is the king. So I am the crocodile. All the river, among the best river, the Ganges, the holy river, and is coming from the Himalayas. So I am the Ganges. There is no beginning, there is the middle, and there is no end. So I am in the beginning, I am in the middle, or I am in the end also. All the sciences, the best science of spirituality, I am. And the best is all the letters. Now here you need to See, he talk about the alphabet here. Can you imagine that? In alphabet also he can see, you will see my existence. So he said all the letters, all the alphabet, A. Now he talk about in Sanskrit. So if you translate into English, is A. But you know what is he talk about is a. So when we chant akara, that is what he trying to mean. Akara, a. So A in, if you in English. So he said, I am the one. And if you see all in Sanskrit, all the character is speak. If you speak, there is the a sound is there. It is already merged. And not only that, all the compound sentences or compound word, he's in doing it. There are 6 types of compound words in Sanskrit. So that is where he talk about that dual word, I am in doing. And there is endless time, and amongst all the creators, I am the Brahma. All the fame, prosperity, fine speech, memory, intelligence, courage, forgiveness, all these qualities you can find. Okay, I am the best, and I'm in. So he talk about all the mantras and the spring season. You can find him, and I said I am the one, the best. And according to Hindu calendar, the 9 months is called Markshir. He said I am the one. The divine says. Similarly, in gambling also he said that I'm doing cheating and I'm doing gambling, that you will find me. Because again, in virtues, achievement, glory, victory, I am in the one. And all the Vrishni dynasty, where the Krishna born. So he said, I am the Krishna, also you can find me. In Pandavas, the Arjun also I am. So he's telling Arjun that whatever, because all the Pandavas, the Arjun is the best, intelligent and knowledgeable, and same time has that wisdom and bhakti and devotion. So he said, in all the Pandavas, I am the Arjun. All the Veda Vyas, all the rishis and the Veda Vyas. So he talked about all the great thinkers. He said, I am the Sukracharya, and the wrong, any wrong actions and the punishment and secrets, all the secrets and the silence. Because when you have a silence, then there is a secrets. You talk about, then no more secrets, you know. And if you have 3%, is already become news. So he said everything is, you will see in from the outer world to that matter world to that inner world to that emotions, you will find a divine, and all the spiritual knowledge to the self realization and the wisdom and all the seed, that is where the origin is happening. Physically or moving or non-moving or exist, they cannot move and move without me. So all the seeds, you will find my existence. And finally he says, wherever you see the magnificent glory, think about me. Simple. Whenever and whatever you will see the beautiful, glorious, powerful, to know the spring from the existence, you will see me. So what is need to be there to detail knowledge? O Arjun, he says, simply know that this is only one fraction of my being. What I haven't, and I support this whole entire creation. So what I just explain about it is just a one fraction. So in that way, he used the one fraction. That means there are so many universes there. So that is beyond our imaginations. So if you see, we have started earlier our talk. We mentioned about the different multiple universe in the 2-3 chapter ago. So what he mentioned all this is just a little bit tip of the iceberg only. So this is what Krishna talk about his glory. So actually this is the last slide. So if you see this chapter, he did talk about a bhakti, he did talk about the whole glorious manifestation. If you see this very carefully, we need to understand that we need, because we, based on our culture, either come from Hinduism or Christianity or Muslim or wherever you born and brought up, or whatever your idea about the divine, the God and all this, you may want to see him as a form. or formless. But we need to go beyond that, because what about intelligence? He's also inside. So many times we discuss with few friends, and I think we talk about in some of the class also. When you are in the morning and you are having an idea, let's say you are having a thought, oh, so who bring this thought to you? Why you thinking about particular person? Why you suddenly out of the blue you feel like you want to call, or you want to think about, okay, let me apply for this job. So who is inspiring you and who's inserting that thought is nothing but divine, because it's a form of thought also, it's form of a wisdom also. So we need to aware his presence, not only in a statue or in a temple or in a talk or in a human or in a pet, or everywhere. What we see, what we feel, what we hear, what we experience, it is with us, because we are a part of it. One of the classic story in uh, there are the Lord Shiva and Parvati. They have these two children, the Kartikeya, the Kartikeya is the elder, and then Ganesha. So they are fighting that who is the best. So they go to the parents, the Lord Shiva and Parvati. So he asks Shiva, Father, tell us who is the best among two of us. Who has the more wisdom and who is more powerful? So now the father, the Shiva, has a little bit tricky questions, because he cannot say you are the one or you are the one, because both is good, and they don't want to see the consequences. So what they are very simply said, okay, you try to do 3 rounds of this universe. You finish the whole circle for this universe 3 times. And then come again here. Whoever come fast, or the first one to see me after completing the 3 rounds of universe, he is the powerful and he is the best. Then immediately by hearing that, Kartikeya start running, because he's very fast and he's elder. So he start running. And then the Ganesha is very chubby, small and fat. He said, obviously, now if I'm going to run this way, then I'm going to lose. So he think. He was intelligent. So he said, so he keep quiet, and then he turn around, because the Shiva and Parvati, the parents are sitting there. So he just did the 3 round and said, Father, I'm done. They said, what? You just finish here? They say, yeah. I said, the God is everywhere. The universe is within me, within you. So why I want to run around you? So I just want to run around you. And then I completed the 3 rounds of universe. So this is what exactly. And then by the time Kartikeya came, and Shiva said, yes, the Ganesha is the winner, because he understands the true existence of each and every molecules. Your phone is a universe. The phone is a divine. Your breath is a divine. Your computer is a divine. Are we seeing that? How we behave with that, all this equipment, how we behave with this thing. So in that sense, we need to be keep aware and understand that we don't need any particular object to meditate. So when you are meditating, you need to merge yourself in any object. That is where we need to go and learn it, and that is where we need to fulfill our emotions. Because when you see, sometimes you see the mat, and then you will see, that's what the yogi used to do. If they are going to samadhi, because if you see the mat or if you see the any object, you will fall in love. First you are using the devotion, and then slowly you will feel it. So we need to aware. So try to use any of the object, any of the form of your meditations. We all learn the few techniques, and try to use this knowledge and apply this and practice this way. Whatever the practice you are doing, including the chanting Om or Trataka or cyclic meditation, you will see the big difference. And before starting, you just sit down 5 minutes, and then aware and feel that existence around you, and learn the first step to devote. I'm going to devote my time. Going to devote myself to you. Oh divine, let me start the practice. Now, whatever practice you want to do is fine. Similarly, when you are cooking, similarly, when you are driving, this is where While seeing this glory, we don't have any options. We don't have any excuse because He's a 24/7 with us in a different form. So we need to be take advantage of this. And furthermore, chapter he's revealing more existence at the upcoming chapter. So let's try to use this tools and try to implement in our practice whatever we are using it. Then maybe we can share it. How you will feel it. Other is it's the same thing. Without this devotion, whatever we practice, we are not going to go anywhere. You may feel good, you may feel this, but you will caught up again into the same situation of emotion issues or whatever it is, it will come back. So we need to go higher and higher, upper level. We need to have that our ingredients has to be in a powerful way. Okay, so I would like to stop here because this chapter is a little bit straightforward. And if you need, let me know. I will send you that PPT, so-called the note, the PowerPoint slide, so that you can read more and maybe you can Google more if, for particular so-called that words or anything you want to do it. Any questions you have? You may have a lot of questions because a lot of I mean the new jargon, new information, new name is there, but is all the I try to make it little as simple as we can just explain. But you can know more about, you can Google it at the moment at this point of time. But it is it is opening up all the Vedas because he is using all the terminology and then we need to know what to call what and all this. But overall, this is very straightforward chapter, but it is important to apply into our day-to-day activity and our practice. Then you will see the miracles.